Hey, what's up? I'm glad you popped in because there's a fresh patch for this game, and it's one of those updates that quietly tweaks the feel of the adventure without changing the core of what makes it so charming. First off, for folks playing the first chapter of the trilogy, the way the hero's stats scale on the harder difficulties has been adjusted. If you picked one of those tougher modes looking for a more punishing old school feel, you might have noticed some level ups that felt a little too stingy or a little too generous depending on how the random rolls landed. The patch nudges those attribute changes so progression feels more consistent and less like a swingy gamble. You still get challenge, but it should feel fairer. That's the kind of balancing that doesn't rewrite encounters but makes every fight you approach with intention. Moving on to the second title, there are a couple of straightforward but genuinely welcome fixes. The ship, yes, the long-suffering means of getting from kingdom to kingdom, now sails faster. It's a small thing on paper, but when you spend a lot of time crossing the sea, shaving seconds off travel and reducing downtime between exploration points adds up to fewer interruptions and more momentum for your play session. Anyone who's had to backtrack or ferry between quests will feel that change immediately. Paired with that, a nasty bug that could leave the screen stuck black after you obtain the Yggdrasil Leaf in Yggdrasil's Arbour has been patched, which is a relief because that exact spot used to be a real roadblock for some players in saved games. If you'd hit that freeze, this update should clear it up and let you continue on without having to reload older saves or retry the sequence repeatedly. There's also a nice expansion to the in-game guidance. More entries have been added to the Traveler's Tips. These additions are the type of micro tutorials and reminders that help newer or returning players understand the systems without forcing them into menus or pausing the flow of the story. They're unobtrusive, practical, and exactly the sort of polish that helps bridge the gap between the original design and modern expectations for accessibility. So, if you're someone who appreciates a nudge in reading about systems, this will make certain mechanics more transparent, and if you like to discover everything on your own, you can safely ignore them, but they're there when you need them. Another subtle but important fix addressed save data bonuses on a specific handheld. Players who had saved data from the third installment in the HD-2D series and were playing on Steam Deck were previously unable to claim the bonus items they should have received. That has been corrected, meaning the cross-title rewards are functional again on that platform, which matters for completionists and for anyone who liked the idea of continuity across the remakes. Little touches like this are the connective tissue that makes the trilogy feel cohesive across different platform experiences. Beyond the headline tweaks, the developers also tucked in a variety of minor bug fixes across both games. That usually translates to smaller enemy AI adjustments, fixes for edge case glitches, and other stability improvements, the kind of under-the-hood work that keeps the experience tidy. Those fixes rarely make the splash of a new feature, but they're crucial for keeping a lengthy RPG feeling reliable over dozens or hundreds of hours. The official patch listings and several outlets have cataloged the changes, so if you're tracking specifics or troubleshooting a particular issue you encountered, those pages are a good go-to. What all of this adds up to is a thoughtful post-launch tune-up. Balance adjustments so levels feel right, fixes for travel, and a really annoying freeze. More in-game guidance for folks trying to get to grips with the remake's systems, and a small but important cross-save reward fix on the deck. It's not a sweeping redesign, and it doesn't add new playable content in this patch, but it smooths rough edges and makes the packages feel more polished. For players who are mid-playthrough, it's the sort of update you'll notice indirectly. Fewer interruptions, more consistent progression, and less frustration. And for those still on the fence, it signals ongoing support from the team behind the release. If you've had any of the issues mentioned, or if you just care about the small quality of life things that stack up over long sessions, this patch is one of those maintenance updates worth grabbing. The changes are practical, they respect the feel of the originals while making modern play smoother, and they show attention to detail from the developer and publisher. That's the kind of steady care that keeps classic titles feeling fresh and playable for a new generation without undermining what longtime fans loved in the first place.